So there's a challenge going on Steam It, started by the Homesteaders Co-op, actually. And if you guys know, we do have a store at the Homesteaders Co-op. And it's basically talking about what you're doing to, claim your own food sovereignty for yourself, for others. Check out all that poultry there. And it's something that really hits home with me. Basically, I think food sovereignty was first a term coined back in like 1996 by a group who was saying that pretty much those who produce, distribute, and consume the food should be the ones who control a lot of the things that go into the whole process of it. Often, actually multiple times, I've seen in interviews with Bill Nye the Science Guy, and he says farming isn't natural, and people have kind of struggled with that, but really what the guy means is that the modern way of farming is not natural. You clear a bunch of acres and acres and acres, and then you seed it all with the same crop, often GMO'd crops these days, and then you give it a lot of chemical fertilizer, you give it a lot of chemical pesticides, you use a giant machine to harvest it, and if nothing's done, the land kind of reverts and starts growing back up with weeds and trees and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely, that is not natural at all. And I don't want to be involved in any step of the process in that. I don't want to be the one doing it. I don't want to be the one eating it. I don't want to be the one living next door to it where that stuff's going to affect, my property. And I think it's sad too when you have people, especially large corporations, really, really messing with the seeds on a level that, although a lot of people are going to claim, oh no, it's safe, it's good, like they have no idea. First of all, they're the people. And second of all, long-term stuff has not been done enough to even figure it out. I was talking yesterday with a lady at the post office. You guys know I mail a lot of things out. And I just made some comment because she wants to garden, she wants to grow, and I was, encouraging her in that. And she was saying that her daughter, when her daughter was 6, her bones were registering as a 7-year-old. And the doctors wanted to do all sorts of tests with her and different things. And pretty much what it came down to is she ate so many of the little chicken buggers from a certain company that were so full of, growth hormones that this girl was actually developing into a young woman, way before she hit 10. And her bones were registering, an entire year ahead of where she actually should have been. So that's a little bit of background on why I'm sitting out here in this giant garden. I was just looking at a photo of it, or a video of it from yesterday. Yesterday I was looking at one of it from last year, but it looks so much nicer when it's green. But the whole purpose of us doing this stuff is to take a bigger control of what goes into our body. A lot of people say that food is a medicine, and food is also a weapon. We are what we eat in a lot of ways, and sometimes if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. Unfortunately, it's come to the day and age where I really don't trust certain things. I really don't trust certain companies, certain government entities, certain all sorts of stuff. And when people are getting to the point where they can tell you what you can and can't do, even with growing food, it's pretty bad. That's why we moved out where we now are, where I have the freedom to do what I'm in the process of doing. I'm loving it. It's a lot of hard work up front, but I'm really loving it. Just hopefully having a wonderful time interacting with this world around me, with the food around me. So what am I doing to actually do it? The one is I moved 750 miles and bought a bigger property, a bigger piece of land. This property is for 3 reasons: a place for us to live, a place to grow our own food, and then a place for animals to be. And the animals also have a role in food. What I want to do is have it to be economical, sustainable, and so abundant that it blesses me and others. You can hear the chickens and the roosters going off in the background. Okay, my ducks, my chickens, my quail, my guinea fowl, my sheep, my goats, they all reproduce after their own kind. Okay, so I don't have to eat every egg that comes out of my chickens. I can also let them sit on some eggs and get the next generation of chickens. Same thing with guineas and with everything else. That I just want them to keep reproducing on their own. Then I never have to have another investment of buying more chickens or trading for more chickens, or whatever it may be. Also here in the garden, I love real, natural excellent stuff. I save my own seeds. We offer a lot of those on our online store. Some of them anyway. We'll get to more in the future. I've got things like a whole row of fig trees here, which I propagate like crazy. I love just propagating plants, especially food-bearing plants, and just doing it where not only can we have really as many as we possibly want of our own, as many as we can possibly handle of our own, but where I can, bless others with them too. And that's what I want to do with the harvest here. I want to be able to eat fresh all summer. I want to be able to can up a great supply for the winter. And I want to be so overrun that I get to bless others. And then they, get the fruit of my labor. That they can receive a blessing, because everyone I know eats food on like a daily basis, a lot of them multiple times a day. There's a reason they say it like that, you know what I mean? But every day people be eating food, every day. And the less you grow, the more you gotta buy. And the less trustworthy it is, and the more possibly unfortunate it is, then the more you're gonna pay for it, besides the fact you're buying it. So that's why I love this. And even back in 2016 when I first joined Steemit, I'm pretty sure if I looked back, enough in the blockchain, I'd be able to find that I probably did the first ever Steemit seed giveaway. I believe it was the Chinese red noodle beans. And the reason that I love to do that is because some ducks are fighting. But the reason that I love to do that is I want to inspire others. I want others to take a look into my life, into my garden, into the plate of my food. I was talking with a guy once from up in New York, and he saw that. He's like, man, he says, that food looks so good. He saw a plate of, food I was eating. I said, yeah, I said most of it was, still growing and alive like 2 hours ago. Came out, grabbed some stuff, cooked a meal, and there it was. And he says, he's never experienced that. He would like to, but he never has. But I want to inspire others, let them get a look into life, even supply them. I went to a couple Steemit meetups before, and all I brought, I brought a multiple number of gifts, but one of the gifts I brought was just a big pile of a variety of seeds. I made out a couple of them and said, here, the little peppers, actually put them all together, and I said, here, I want to bless you guys with this. Anyone who wants to grow, take these, grow. That's how much I believe in it, that I'll put my seeds where my mouth is. More than one way to think about that too. But that's what we're doing. I want to try things. I want to experience things. I want to learn. I want to live. I want to inspire others. I want to educate people. I want to share. I want to live generously. Like I say all the time, I don't want to have a lot of money. I just want to not need a lot of money. So to me, this is worth thousands of dollars to me. There's a lot of seeds I will never have to buy again in my entire life, and I will eat like crazy. There's hopefully some animals I'll never have to buy again in my life. And I'll tell you what, we're at the point where, like I said, you've really, I believe, got to take control of it yourself. I was talking with the lady at the post office too. She's like, man, I just can't afford to go buy all the organic stuff myself. And, I think in the end, when you wind up with a certain amount of medical bills or other things, maybe you realize you couldn't afford not to. But there's such an easier, cheaper way, such a better way, and that is simply doing it yourself. So what I'm trying to do for food sovereignty is take control of it myself. Control what goes into my body and the body of my children. I mean, you think about that, I'm the one who's been entrusted a certain stewardship and care over them. Therefore, I'm going to be the one who's held responsible for what happens to them, even if I do things in ignorance, is the way I view it. I don't want to be ignorant. I want to be educated, and I want to live wisely. And if I can guarantee a good, healthy, nutritional, nutritious, actual beneficial food source to them for a tiny, tiny fraction of the cost, and if rather than leaving my family to go earn the money to buy them something questionable, I can sit here during that same time I would have to leave to pay for the food, and we can plant some seeds together. And we can harvest them together. We can weed them and water them and preserve them together. Like, what is that worth? So, I think that's about my answer to the question. There's been a lot of good posts on Steemit of other people answering those questions, that question, and kind of what they share. But to me, do it myself, inspire others, equip others, help others, bless others, and whether they're people across the country or something that I can send seeds to, whether they're people next door that I can give food to, whatever it's going to be, that's my goal, and that's why I'm hard out here at work on a very regular basis, turning this into what I think it needs to be to do what we want it to do. And so far so good, guys. All right, pop out. Oh, last thing, you know what else I do? I sit there and I take those companies like Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company, who I believe is one of the companies on the front line of the war for actually having real seeds, and I support them like crazy. I remember once going up there for an event. I went to the seed shop 3 different times, and every time I spent some money, and some of the orders were, where you're dropping $40 or more at a pop, and then you go back and do it again a couple hours later because we were still there. Taking things, rareseeds.com, Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company, non-GMO, wonderful stuff from all around the world. I like to find companies like that, and they're not that many hours of a drive from us, so we go there periodically, but that's what I like to do. I like to support them to, encourage them to, and encourage others to as well. So that'd be the final thing. All right, Papa out.
As always, I'm Papa Pepper, and I'd like to remind you, don't post for free. If you'd like to be part of a revolution in social media, an economic power to the people where users can actually blog for cryptocurrency, then I'd recommend that you check out steemit.com and join the revolution. Papa out.